number one pick in the draft.
And it's big market hype. He's going to get big market hype.
He's on Hard Knocks right now.
Yep,
He's got all of that going for himself. Now, he has a defensive coach. And so how is that going to factor in? Because Sean Payton is going to want Bo Nix to run his offense. Now, it's going to be a conservative brand of it. He's still going to throw the ball an awful lot this season. All right, so we're looking at Caleb Williams is about plus 150, 140 most places you look. Jaden Daniels getting about 6-1, 5-1 odds. By the way, right now we're at Circa Resort and Casino for Ultimate Football Weekend right here, Ultimate Football Contest Weekend. Marvin Harrison Jr., and then we're looking at roughly Bo Nix around the 4 slot, Malik Neighbors right behind that. All right, Andy, so when trying to figure out the likelihood of somebody to win an award and whether or not you should bet it, it's also important to look at precedent, right? Last 10 years, we've had 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs, 4 quarterbacks.
Okay.
Win Offensive Rookie of the Year. So
more of a division than MVP.
This isn't exactly. This isn't like MVP. This isn't a slam dunk that a quarterback is going to run away from that. The 4 quarterbacks that have won this award in the last decade: Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, C.J. Stroud. Dak in 16, Kyler in 19, Herbert in 20. Thanks again to the trainer, who
yeah, the bad needle,
just a needle right in the lungs. That's brutal, by the way. Poor Tyrod.
Yeah, Tyrod thought he had it. He thought he was at least going to get the year, right?
No, we punctured your lung with a large needle, like it was that scene in Pulp Fiction. C.J. Stroud, 2023. Okay, that's your 4 quarterbacks that have won Offensive Rookie of the Year. One thing to take note of when it comes to this award, unlike MVP, you don't have to win. I mean, you have to win the award. You don't have to win games.
Right.
It helps to win. Dak Prescott was 13-3 his rookie year in 16 starts. Yeah, that's pretty much going to get it done. C.J. Stroud was 9-6 last year in 15 starts. That helps. However, Kyler went 5-10-1 back in 2019. Justin Herbert went a very nice 6-9 in his 15 starts in 2020. So you don't have to have a winning record. We know that. One thing that is critical, you have to have a good touchdown to interception ratio. Dak was 23-4 the season he won it. Kyler Murray was 20-12. That's not awesome, but it's not awful. Justin Herbert, a very good 31-10, and C.J. Stroud last year was 23-5. I don't think Bo Nix is going to throw a ton of interceptions this year.
No, that's why Sean wanted him. He doesn't take sacks and he doesn't throw picks.
Yep, he does not do that all that much. Yardage, you're looking for anywhere from around 3,600 yards and above. Herbert and Stroud both went over 4,000 yards the season that they won it. I don't think Nix is going over 4,000. It would surprise me if the yardage total was that high.
If the yardage total goes up, then we have seen the expanded routes targeting in the offense that we're all talking about right now, because he's feasting off of 5 to 10 yard throws.
Completion rate 64, 65. Yeah, you want to be right around there. I think Bo's going to be right around there. 77% is what he put up so far in the preseason. That's going to go down in the regular season. However, I think Bo Nix is pretty set right there. I mean, last year he set an NCAA record for completion rate for a season. So not going to do all that bad right there. Rushing touchdowns. The high on this list was Dak with 6. Kyler had 4. Justin Herbert had 5. Stroud had 3 last year. Rushing touchdowns in the season, their respective seasons that they won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Again, just going off of the history of this award and the sort of statistical markers right here, I think Bo's going to be in the conversation. If he makes 15, 16 starts and maintains the solid completion rate like he has to. Again, are the Broncos going to put up a winning season this year? I don't believe they're going to, but you don't have to be able to win this award. Right now at 11-1, 10-1, that's a pretty good price on Bo Nix for Offensive Rookie of the Year because we know he's starting from day one.
Yeah, and look, Sean Payton's never lost more or never won less it's tricky wording because that would suggest he's never lost more than 9 games.
He's
in
never
a season,
won fewer than 7
but
games.
now we've got 17 games in a season, blah, blah, blah. He's never won less than 7 games in a season, okay? Yes. And so if he were to at least hit his usual mark, he being Sean Payton, and he gets 7 wins, Bo gets him 7 wins, or gets to start 7 wins, and has double the touchdowns to interceptions and things like some of the metrics that you measured, even a 3,000-yard season, I bet would get it done for him.
So Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. Right now, better odds generally at most books when it comes to this particular list. However, both of them have defensive head coaches.
Right.
Could that potentially be a thing that slows those guys down in that quest? It could. It certainly could be a factor. I don't think there's a better situation in terms of head coach and quarterback marriage than Bo Nix and Sean Payton. Obviously, Jaden Daniels as a new head coach. We don't know how long Eberflus is going to have that job.
Let me ask you
Chicago.
Real quick. You talk about the marriage of coach and quarterback, which is so important. You asked me if I'd watched Hard Knocks, so I figured I'd check out that episode before we got out of town last night. What was Eberflus doing with the beginning? The opening scene, he's got Caleb going through all the stuff. What did you learn? What did you see?
Right.
And I kept waiting for, the coaching points. And I don't feel like it really showed up. I just was like, dude, should his offensive coach maybe be in here? You know what I mean?
That was the thing I couldn't quite figure out was I couldn't tell if it was edited out or not. If that was something that perhaps with the editorial control they had taken some control of. The other part of that scene that bothered me, Andy, and I'm assuming, knowing you and your eye for these sort of details, that you may have noticed this. So in Eberflus's office, this is from Hard Knocks this week, episode 3. In Matt Eberflus's office, he has a chair directly across his desk, like most bosses' desks, right? It was not a swivel chair. And yet, when it came time to watch film, the screen is on the wall behind Caleb Williams, who is facing Eberflus. So he's like, do me a favor, turn the chair around. And Caleb Williams had to do the most awkward. It's also not a terribly light or easy to maneuver chair. And he's having to do the awkward
it was like that
scooch thing with it.
The Austin Powers egg chair or something.
He got I don't know, he got 60 degrees on the way there and just stopped and then watched film over his shoulder the entire time. It didn't look comfortable. It didn't look ergonomically correct. That's an issue right there. If I'm the Chicago Bears, I've got to get a swivel chair behind Matt Eberflus. That's a weakness. I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl like that.
Yeah, did he just power desk him in that? Did he give him the power desk? Turn around and let's look at my wall. No, dude, go sit by him. As a matter of fact, this dude is going to determine whether you keep your job or not. I would cozy on up to him. Go around your power desk and just sit next to him.
Did you ever see the episode of Curb with Lin-Manuel Miranda? When he's got the high seat behind the desk, the power seat the entire time. Larry and Jeff are stuck on the low seats. That's what Eberflus is trying to pull off right now.
See,
I like your endorsement deals, but not when you come in this room.
Let me ask you this real quick. Do you think, because I do think, again, offensive coach, offensive quarterback, I think there's a bit of a little bit of an advantage there. But do you think Eberflus knows? He's got to know after 2 years with Justin Fields and nearly getting fired before this year. This kid is my future.
Yep.
This either works or I'm the one out of here.
This is my meal ticket.
So he's got to just kind of get out of the way, doesn't he?
Well, Eberflus is a defensive coach. He's probably not getting another head coaching gig.
No, the DCs don't get recycled too quickly.
Yeah, this is kind of his one ticket.
Vance Joseph still hasn't. Vic is still out there.
He either wins with Caleb Williams or that's probably it.
Yeah, we're back to Alabama.
And I don't think Eberflus ever had he didn't have a Dan Quinn reputation or anything else like that.
It didn't go as well as he wanted, but Dan Quinn at least did get a team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All blew up after halftime, but he got him there.
Yeah. So
he was halfway there.
You're dead right about that. No, he's spending time. They're going over the footwork.
What about Spagnuolo? You and I were talking about coaching staff. She got an interesting grading system going on there. Spagnuolo is never – now, maybe he doesn't want it. Wade Phillips got a couple of cracks, ultimately admitted when he got back to Denver, I'm just not a good head coach. I'm a defensive guy. Let me do that. They are all about offense in this league. And although, Mike's already blown us up. Our guy Sanford's blown us up to point out that D'Amico Ryans was a defensive head coach. But – there's always an outlier.
How many Super Bowls in a row has Spags dominated,
right?
He doesn't get a sniff in the coaching carousel.
Wasn't he the guy behind both Giants upsets of
Yeah.
the Patriots?
Yeah. His name doesn't get brought up.
Not at all.
Doesn't get brought up.
Nope.
Sorry, man. You can't do that part of the job.
And he handled that Philadelphia team that he handled a couple years ago. That was talking about Philly and the Niners.
Yes.
It's not like he faced a couple of crummy offenses the last couple Super Bowls. Can we move on from the positive Kansas City talk? I'm feeling ill. I need a Tums.
Yeah, I'm
Pepto.
I know it's out on a limb. They're pretty good. They're quite good.
By the way, we're right across from a Raider Nation radio.
Yeah, Raider Nation Radio.
Did you set that up?
Our dude Q is right over there.
Did we think this would be funny?
Right now, plus the other Vegas station is right next door to him. We got all the Raider
We're just
folk.
gonna stare at each other, mean mug this whole same shift we're all working.
Not really. The conversation is mostly just like, is it a pain in the ass to cover them? Yeah, I know.
Boy, Q was talking about night practices. That's something they had to do in Houston. It is baking. It is the surface of the sun.
Yep.
I told you, I was thinking about hitting that pool, and then I remembered 101. We got out here, what was it, about 7 a.m., 8 a.m. when we walked out into the...
It was 90.
Yeah. I was like, wow, this is midday heat.
Yeah.
And nobody's even had their eggs yet.
Yep.
You kidding me?
Yep. Ridiculous.
You are not supposed to... Where it's extremely hot and extremely cold, it's like nature's telling you, we don't want you here.
I don't.
Go ahead and head somewhere else where it's more mild.
Do not understand how people live here. These people are insane.
Here or Arizona? I had to pick one.
Either one of them.
Which one you doing?
I would take here, obviously, because I would just sit in a sports book all day. Might not be conducive to productivity or anything else like that.
That means I got to go Arizona.
I'd be happy.
You and I are much different people.
Uh-huh.
So if this is your pick, I'm going down to Arizona and playing golf with the old folks.
We all know you're not playing golf.
I'm not. You're right. I'd take up a couple of chunks of grass, and they'd be like, "Sir, you got to leave."
You'll be like, "This is all the grass in our entire state. Please don't do that."
Yes.
Yeah, you'd be inside right now watching the BMW. Keegan Bradley right now is your round one leader, finishing with a 6 under 66 here on day number one. According to my latest leaderboard, Hideki Matsuyama is 5 under through 17, sitting in second place. So that's what's going on right now over at Castle Pines. Xander Schauffele is a 3 under par right now. He is currently in the clubhouse. Some of the updates that's going on right there. Vic's buddy Will Zalatoris able to overcome the curse of Vic Lombardi. He was a 1 under 71 for the day at Castle Pines. BMW Championship is happening right now. Kreckman and Lindahl is happening live at the Circa Resort and Casino because it is Ultimate Contest weekend right here at the Circa. Keep it here on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Yeah, we're out on the road today. Circa Resort and Casino. Nate Kreckman, Andy Lindahl. It is Ultimate Contest weekend here at Circa. Circa Survivor and Circa Million. You still have, I believe, until the 7th of September to sign up for both of these contests. Circa Million, a $6 million guaranteed prize. You're making 5 weekly picks against the spread. You come out on top, you're doing quite well. Then there's the Circa Survivor Pro Football Contest. $10 million guaranteed. It's a survivor pool, man. Just pick a winner every single week. Can't pick the same team twice. There's a chart over there, by the way. I saw Derek Stevens before hyping this thing on VSiN. He recommends just hanging it in your home and carefully selecting who you're going to like week in and week out during the season.
Let's do this then real quick.
All right.
What's the game? What's your 100% confidence game for the Broncos? What's the 1 week you're putting your fate of whatever, $1 million in their hands?
Week 2, Pittsburgh at home.
Really?
They're not losing that game. They will not lose that game.
Save this tape, Mark.
Yep.
Just in case.
2, Pittsburgh. Now, you know what? I'll even say if Fields starts. But if Russ starts, the Broncos win that game. Oh, man, Stephen A. went off. We got to play that audio a little bit later. We found somebody that might hate Russell Wilson as much as we do, I think.
Hold on now. What is this showing me? That's 225, right?
Yeah.
And it's here.
Yeah.
Why does it say 125 on their own site?
What time zone are we in right now?
Oh, thank you. All
yeah.
Right. Oh, that damn geo-tracking.
We moved.
The government is following me. I forgot.
Your phone knows where you are.
That's crazy. You know what's funny? I've never seen a 125 start time in my life.
You know,
because I don't think I've ever been in California during football season where I looked at the Broncos' schedule, because the only time I've been in California during football season and with the damn team, and I knew when the game was.
You know what rules? 9 a.m. kickoff on college football Saturdays here.
Have you ever been to Hawaii?
Well, that's
during football.
Yeah, that's absurd.
You still got half the day to do things in Hawaii.
Yeah, 9 a.m. is your college football Saturday kickoff here. That's when games start in this part of the country.
So you've got Russ, huh? Or that's the game.
That's the game. That's the game.
I mean, I'm not gonna push back too much on it, because
that guy stinks.
They are really, really. I mean, it is a national narrative. Now, a lot of people have been saying, though. Matter of fact, I think even Mike said this to me. I've got a few people saying that the Steelers are not showing anything. That better be the truth, because what do you think they do?
So they're trying to go 3 and out?
Well,
every time that they touch the ball?
They're not necessarily game planning it. Are you going Fields just simply for the running ability?
Yes. Yes, because there actually is upside there. He actually can win games with his legs. You know, the Chicago Bears average 166 rush yards a game with Justin Fields as their quarterback. You can do something like that in Pittsburgh. Now, your passing game is certainly going to be hit or miss. It's a Justin Fields passing game, but Russ can't move anymore.
All right, I got a different game. You wouldn't go Carolina?
What week is that?
Week 8, October 27th.
As I sit here right now,
Carolina's coming here.
There's so much that can happen between now and then.
Too many injuries for you to say that's the one?
Panthers stink, too.
Well, yeah, the Panthers are living in the exact same neighborhood the Broncos are, with a lot of the outside predictions. We've got the Madden roster rankings. Panthers and Broncos are basically right there, tied.
Sean Payton's not losing that game week 2. He's not losing that game.
Okay, but here's the reason why I'll push back on that a little bit.
Russ to go away.
I get it.
He's not losing that game.
But you also made a bunch of big comments about the Jets, who rolled in here with Zach Wilson, who was not even near the more rehab version of what we're seeing, and you still lost to him.
Well, yeah, who was his starting quarterback?
Again, Zach Wilson.
No, who was his starting quarterback?
Was it Wilson on Wilson,
or
did
was.
Rippon get that game?
It was.
Rippon got the game earlier, right?
Yes.
The year prior?
Yes.
Where is Carolina in the odds? So Carolina is at – did you realize Carolina's got – oh, no, you're right. There it is. Plus 50,000. Man, they're almost double what the Broncos are to win the Super Bowl. Holy cow. I would go Carolina right now.
Okay.
If I had to put one down – again, not knowing what injuries lie ahead, I would pick Broncos winning against Carolina at home in the Survivor pool.
If you're the Steelers right now, if you're on that defense, And they have talent on that side of the ball. You're looking over there and going, really? This is what you got us? This was the big upgrade over Kenny Pickett? This isn't better? What have we done here? What have we accomplished? Yeah, just another lateral move. The other part about it, too, is like how long can you go without putting Fields in there to get a full picture of any chance that he has of being able to lock up that job? You know what I'm saying? Like because you have to know by the end of this year, like, do we have somebody or are we drafting a replacement?
Well, so far he looks like exactly how he's looked through his whole career. Dynamic plays that make you want to will him into being an actual pocket passer, which he just isn't.
Yep.
And, I mean, again, Acho on the same breakdown of the great decision in the early throw by Bo Nix to Tim Patrick showed Justin Fields. I thought he was picking a Wilson clip. Instead, he picked the Fields clip.
Got to get the ball out.
He kept going, get it out, it out, and he showed how Fields waited to throw to where the defender was on top of him, and then no play could really be made.
But Russ has the same problem, and he can't move.
I know.
That's why you got to play Fields if you're Pittsburgh. But I think Russ is going to be there.
I think
in week
they're
2.
both going to to end up playing. I wouldn't be surprised if they play
Denver?
both in the same game.
Going to line them up in the same formation. Could be fun. Could be fun. They're going to have to figure something out. Yeah, that offense is in trouble. The wild thing is, like, I believe in Tomlin. I believe in that defense, but right now that offense is it's got a tricky situation staring it in the face. I'm telling you, man, Broncos are winning that game week 2. Mark it down. Save the tape. All that
every
good stuff.
time you do this,
every time.
you make me nervous and it doesn't go our way.
Every time.
And then you're completely emotionally unaffected by it, and it bothers the hell out of me. Because I hate it.
I have no stake in it whatsoever. Guess what? If the Broncos lose that game, I'll still have a job on Monday.
Yeah,
I'll be just fine.
I know you do.
Yeah, don't you worry about it, folks.
Matter of fact, it'll be a spicier conversation for you. Less work.
I'll enjoy it a hell of a lot more. And guess what? I'll blame it on that. I'll blame it on Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Don't worry.
How dare you?
It's Kreckman and Lindahl. We're live at the Circa Resort and Casino, and we are rolling with you today until 6 p.m. There is much going on this fine radio program here today. We're talking a ton of football here on Ultimate Contest Weekend. But we'll take a break. When we come back, Andy, we love our sponsors here on the Kreckman and Lindahl Show. We love the products that we endorse. We do so enthusiastically.
I know where you're going now. I was like, what are you doing with this?
Found out, though,
someone is better.
We could be doing a better job.
Sure.
Yeah. You can endorse a product better than Nate Kreckman and Andy Lindahl. We found the guy who can do it, and he's coaching in the SEC. We'll tell you about that next. Craigman and Lindahl live in Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Day number 1 of our trip out here. It is Ultimate Contest Weekend. Guys, you can still sign up for Circa Millions and Circa Survivor. You have to be here in Las Vegas to do so. But they'll take care of you here at Circa. They'll set you up with a proxy to be able to make your bets every single week so you can participate from out of state. They're going to take care of you here at Circa. Again, Circa Million, you're taking 5 games against the spread every single week. Circa Survivor, you're just going straight Survivor pool. Who else is in on Denver over Pittsburgh with me week 2? Everybody there?
I think a lot.
Good.
I bet you about half.
Good.
What in Broncos country is not half and half? Everything is half and half.
That's true.
It's been half and half since Manning. And even the last year of Manning, they were half and half as to who should start.
I think we're better than half and half right now.
All right.
I'm serious right now. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. And this was even before Bo was named the starter technically yesterday, which happened. And you know, some wanted to view it as this monumental event. You and I just viewed it as, yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
Confirmation.
On with our lives, we continue. So much so to the point of Sean Payton apparently didn't even tell the team about it. He was just told the quarterbacks.
He had said the players knew it was coming.
Exactly. He told them exactly what they knew. Andy, look, this is where we really hope by week 6, week 8, whatever week it may be, week 8 Carolina, I believe, that we're not looking back and being like, remember the preseason when we had hope?
Right.
Remember the exciting 2 weeks of Bo Nix mania that overtook Denver, Colorado, that there was actual enthusiasm for what was going on? And we have to allow for the fact that could happen. We read the numbers yesterday that Kenny Pickett put up in the preseason last year, eerily similar, if not better, than those that Bo Nix put up this year. So, yeah, things can go south. We're all well aware of that. He hadn't played any starters. All that thing. We get all of that, and yet at the same time, there's a coach who is a handpicked quarterback who believes in that quarterback, who is staking his future here in Denver, is staking the franchise to that player, and has every motivation not to fail. That is all what is happening right now here with the Broncos. Andy, I would venture to say right now this town feels better about this team at any time since, I'll go as far back as 2016. And 2016 was just, hey, Super Bowl defense coming off of having won a Lombardi trophy. When was the last time that you felt this kind of buzz bubbling up around this team?
You're right. The buzz is there.
Maybe Drew Lock mania.
Drew Lock in 2020.
Last 5 games of 19 until the start of the season.
Right, where you thought you had it fixed there.
And to be fair, we thought that Lock would have a good year in 2020. We hoped that Lock would have a good year in 2020 and take a big step forward, and he didn't. And I'll allow for the fact that could happen again.
Here's what I've learned doing radio, at least during our show. Okay. The early part of my radio talk show every night career was with Manning. Right? So that was 2012 through, that was 4 years of pretty consistent winning. And not a lot of stuff to, the greatest thing was who are you going to draft, or should they have run the ball a little bit more, or whatever it was.
You know what topic I used to do every Monday?
What's that?
What was your favorite throw?
There you go. Oh, 2013, you could add any one of them. Which TD was your favorite? Because we always had multiple to pick from.
It was fun.
Now
it was pick out, and you could break down in granular. What about that? What about that lot? What about that slot fade over the shoulder to Julius Thomas that he dropped into the bucket? And you could just sit there and drool over precision and brilliance.
Yeah, was that one better than that one? And every little move, should they pick up this veteran? Should they do this? Should they do that? Because it could affect you actually get home field advantage or not. That was what we talked about once upon a time. Okay, now we fast forward to you and I start the show in 2019. That's when Drew Lock was drafted. I joined you as your partner in June, shortly after that draft. Ever since then, what I have found is, and it relates to present day this way.
Yeah.
There are those that I think are waiting to see if what we're seeing in the preseason is really going to be real with Bo Nix.
Sure.
Okay? And I'm more towards that camp. Not probably, I'm more towards that camp.
Oh, this fan base has been hurt.
Because
they're afraid to be vulnerable.
Look, man, it's not just but frankly, it's not just Bo Nix. Like is this really, if you're going to run this efficiently, then they're going to blow the over out of the water.
Right.
But the NFL regular season always, like you said, there's a reason why a lot of teams look so good in preseason, and then it doesn't go over to the regular season. So I think
talent beat talent. This team's got a long way to go.
I think that group, for the most part, is quiet about things right now. The Bo Nix, we're sure he's the next guy. They're having their fun right now. The minute, if you and I get into a 1-3 start to the season and everything is not the way this fan base wants, then the other side's going to come out and the other side will quiet for it, because that just feels like what it's been, whether it's been Sean Payton, whether it's been Russell Wilson, whether it's been Drew Lock, whether it's been Vic Fangio, Nathaniel Hackett, you name it. We haven't had a consensus on anything in this fan base for at least 7 healthy years. And someone asked yesterday, I think it was Will asked yesterday, said, or maybe it was Matt, one of the texters asked, hey, I'm a Bo Nix guy, but what could possibly get everything? And I think he was generally asking the question of what could put this off the rails. Well, I'll tell you what could come out here, because here's what I could see happening. Because I keep telling people, I don't think Bo Nix goes into a tank when they get to the regular season. I think he's going to be a good starting quarterback. Now, can he get inside the top 10?
61
starts. Can he get inside the top 10? Can he get to the top 5? Those are the things I've got questions on.
And those to me, those are down the
They really are down the road.
conversations.
But you and I both know what could be coming, because, again, this is still John Elway's town. If this offense is underneath like it's shown, and there's not a lot of pop plays, and it doesn't put up the point, then people are going to be upset about it.
Degree of difficulty is going to be tough on Bo Nix.
We've had some. You and I have done shows, and look, it was kind of the Teddy Bridgewater era where they were winning games, but the offense, it still was a tough watch at times. Now, again, I still think this offense should be more entertaining to watch than the Teddy Bridgewater version. But my point is, this fan base, they still want to win a certain type of way. This town wants offensive football. Okay?
This morning, while we were seated in row 12, Andy, and while you were sleeping,
trying to sleep,
drooling on your shirt, I actually we flip flopped our show preps today.
You took an ESPN program.
I was first taken. I was get upping.
You were up.
I was good morning footballing.
Yes.
Oh, I was flipping through all of it. All 3 of those shows talked about Nix today.
Yep.
And there were multiple discussions of Bo Nix, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Bo Nix, breakout of the rookie class, Bo Nix, Sean Payton, great combination, got the quarterback that he loves, reminiscent of Drew Brees. Oh, he would have loved to have had Patrick Mahomes. All of those talking points are getting thrown out there. And I don't remember the last time that I watched a segment about the Broncos offense on a national talk show that wasn't about Russ and Sean being a mess.
Yes.
That is a huge change of pace.
No, you're right. Hey, Sean?
That is a thing that gets, that gets the fever going for a fan base that, to your point, it not only is this a Broncos town, not only is this a offense town, this is a quarterback town.
Yep.
And we're talking about a guy who, as a rookie, is going to start week 1. I don't know if you've heard, first since Elway in '83.
Right.
I don't know if you caught that.
What a coincidence.
Exactly.
How about the way it lines up?
The backpack, Andy.
The backpack.
Yeah.
The workout.
Yes.
The meetings.
It's all happening. The mind. Remember, sent him the email at 5 p.m., 9 a.m., the meeting, the recall. Blew it out of the water. Okay? Again, these are all the stories that the sideline reporters are going to be using this year. Maybe even week 1, they'll be talking about Sean Payton having the time of his life. Okay? These things are all going to be what get out there. Is Nix going to step out onto the field and throw for 5,000 yards his rookie year? I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I'll take the under.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that way.
Right. Exactly.
Because they are going to run the ball a lot, too.
And I do want to, as much as we talk about a fever and a mania and all those things that's happening right now, I do want to have a hopefully semi-sober analysis of his play and his progress every week over the course of this season. And, Andy, I think you and I do generally a decent enough job of that. We get distracted from time to time, but that's just kind of us.
Well, and for those that, I'm sure the Debbie Downer text will come in or something or whatever.
Hey, sucks.
And it's fine.
Sucks.
But,
sucks.
No, people, there are people that want you to just jump on the Bo Nix train right away. But I would say this, how many preseasons have lied to us? That's where this comes from, if you're wondering, for me. Where's the hesitation? How many times have you and I –
Kenny Pickett last year.
Well, I would even just say let's look inside this own town. How many times did we show up and we saw Jerry Jeudy running these crisp routes? He's going to get open. Man, the guy seems uncoverable. Never translated to the regular season. Drew Lock, what we got in 5 games, that never really showed up again. There weren't 5 games. I mean, maybe there were.
Yeah.
But maybe you forgave some of the mistakes because you thought, he's young, he won't make that mistake. Oh, it turns out he will. He will still try to make that throw that he can't make. Or he will still try to run someplace that he shouldn't or whatever. So that's why I'm just entrenched in you got to wait and see what they're going to give us right now. I am encouraged by what we've seen in preseason.
I think the counter to it, though, is the coach and organizational belief that has been put in the player.
Sure.
That I don't think I don't remember a time when I have seen this kind of united front outside of coaching Peyton Manning, not even from the fan base or anything else like that, because I don't even think it's completely united in the fan base, but also just the part where the organization is fully invested and in on this thing, and they're starting him right away from week 1.
Okay, fair enough, but I would also then ask this uncomfortable question, if that's what this segment's
Teams have
about.
to be committed, is my point.
Isn't the jury still a little bit out on Sean Payton in his second run? Last year was fun. You still didn't make the playoffs.
+3 in wins, year over year. Pretty good.
It is. Oh, you're not kicking it out of bed.
Yeah.
Not after what we've watched.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you still had 2 meaningless games at the end of the season that didn't do you any good. And you were unable to win the one that you needed to win in order to stay in the playoff chase.
The Stiddy era.
That was still a little bit of Vic Fangio right there.
Stiddy era will always
even
mean
prior
something to me.
the Patriot game is the one that really bit you. That's
meaningless for some, Andy. Let's
well, there you go. Hey. People still had money on it.
To Musburger, the comment.
When I talk about hesitations on things, let's go back to the pass rush. How often did you and I think Baron Browning and Jonathan Cooper and all these guys that are still on this team are really going to show us this next jump or something? Oh, the pass rush looks fierce in practice, this, that, the other. And
I don't remember being that in on the pass rush.
It was one year I thought Browning and Cooper were going to be pretty good.
Okay.
Now,
okay.
I say that, and I think Browning was still pairing with the guy we traded to Miami, the 5th overall
Bradley
pick.
Chubb.
Bradley Chubb, okay?
What's his name?
And then old Bradley Chubb headed out of town. Remember, they looked all right. That was the Haxie first year, the only year, right, where they traded Bradley Chubb.
Chubb did have a good camp that year.
He did have a good camp and a good start to the season, which is why Miami gave up the first-round pick for him.
Yeah.
Or whatever they gave up, they ultimately gave up for Sean Payton. So
it was a first. Late first, but a first nonetheless.
Late first. So just saying, man, this is there's reasons why I have hesitation to put any stock in the preseason because of the way things have gone the last 5 years.
Yeah. Guard that heart, but allow yourself.
That's right. I'm not ready. Hey, you know what? I've been burned a few times.
The hope.
Now you know what Bronco fans are? It's like you're dating in your 30s and people have been divorced once. Now there's baggage. Not your 20s.
Messy.
Not when it's easy.
It's messy.
And just swiping right because you got no property to divide or whatever it is, left, right, whatever you do.
Whichever swipe
you need to swipe. Now there's kids involved. Now it's a little bit tricky. Now I got other people to worry about.
Now there's alimony? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. Now I got to live in my
lawyers?
mom's basement until I get out from under something. Whose mom's basement would it be? Shanahan? Is he the father you're living in the basement of?
The Shannon Mansion.
Who is the father? Is it Peyton Manning's basement?
Shannon Mansion has a pretty
Who
sweet
is the
basement.
father of Broncos country? Are we going all the way back to John Elway? Because John Elway's older. He's kicking you out of that basement. He's selling and downgrading. He's downsizing the old house.
John's going to Del Boca Vista.
Yeah, John's had enough. John's leaving you. John, we are looking at John like George Costanza going, you're spending all my inheritance.
We totally teased a topic for this segment. We'll do it at some point today. I believe in us. I like our chances of being able to come back around. It is a Thursday afternoon, and we are live at the Circa here in Las Vegas. $16 million in guaranteed prizes right here at the Circa. It is contest sign-up weekend right here at the Circa. We're talking about $6 million guaranteed for the Circa Sports $1,000,006 Pro Football Contest, where you're making 5 picks against the spread every single week. You're just trying to rack up the dubs. And then there's the Circa Survivor Pool, where you have to pick a winner, not even against the spread. You're just picking a straight-up winner, old-school Survivor contest with $10 million guaranteed in prizes right here at Circa Sports. But you got to get down here to Southern Nevada to get yourself signed up. But enter in Nevada, play from anywhere. You can go to circasports.com to get all of the information and get yourself signed up for these contests. With you today until 6, it's Kreckman and Lindahl. Craigman and Lindahl from Las Vegas today, Circa Resort and Casino. Yeah, they're getting everybody signed up. It is Ultimate Contest weekend here at Circa for Survivor and Circa Million 6, circasports.com. Get all the information right there, but these are some lucrative contests that they've got going on out here. All right, Andy. Aaron Judge, by the way, today, 2 more home runs last night, homered again today, 48. Judge is now at 48. He's passed his 2022 paces when he hit 62 and won the AL MVP. So Judge is now there. Shohei Ohtani last night, 39th stolen base. He's now at 39 home runs, 39 stolen bases. So he will be the 6th to go 40-40 with a shot to be the first to go 50-50. And we're sitting here on the 22nd of August, so Shohei has a chance to be able to do that. Elly De La Cruz last night, 60th stolen base. He is the 5th in history, 20 home runs and 60 stolen bases in a single season. So this has been a pretty rad year for statistical milestones in baseball.
It has been. So how does that shake down the MVP? Because, man, you can't – here's the one thing, and I know it affects him as a pitcher, but Shohei Ohtani – able to come back and contribute to the team the season after he's like right after he's
Tommy
basically
John.
had the Tommy John.
Yeah.
Man, that's incredible. Now I know what Judge is doing is pretty incredible. Did you say who's his teammate?
Juan Soto.
Soto. Don't they kind of
unreal.
steal votes from each other?
I think Judge is going to get it.
You do? Okay.
Well, betting market has Judge at 1. I think Bobby Witt Jr. at 2 and Soto 3. It feels like right, especially the run that Judge is on at the moment. Again, he homered again today. So he's up to 48 now on the year. Home runs are cool. Shohei, I think, is getting it in the National League. Yeah, it's been unbelievable. By the way, did you see Joey Votto retired?
Yeah, you were telling me about this post on Instagram.
Yeah.
Interesting that they'd go to Instagram to do it. He would do it.
So he originally, I think he first retired via tweet, but then he went much deeper, did Joey Votto, on his Instagram to kind of tell the story of him hanging it up. So he's been trying to battle his way back from an ankle injury, and he was trying to make it back to the big leagues to play for Toronto this year. He, Canadian Joey Votto trying to make it back and play for the Blue Jays, and he couldn't get there. So he put up a post. He initially just put out a very simple tweet of basically just kind of like in so many words, I'm done. That's it. I'm officially retired from baseball. He sent an addendum to that, 367 words. It was on Instagram, and it was classic Votto. He thanked his parents. He thanked his brother for throwing him the wiffle ball as a kid.
Oh,
yeah. Thanked 2 of his high school teammates, specifically by name. Thanked the people of his hometown and his youth baseball league, including his youth coach. And even brought up the name of some dude that he claims was better than he was, which that's pretty sweet. Do you still remember the kid that was the best in your little league?
Yeah.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine was Jeff Gertz. He was the best in our little league. He ruled.
Yeah, ours. So, and I went to the same school. Little league. This kid, he was Marcus Politsky, Kane Politsky.
Yeah.
And he just was good at everything.
Yep.
Every sport we played, he was the best at everything.
So Jeff Gertz, who actually still my friend to this day, he was a year above me in school technically, and he was the catcher on my varsity baseball team, and he would later go on to catch in the Big Ten for the Fighting Illini of Illinois. Andy,
of course. Where else would you go?
Naturally, where else would you go? But he was the catcher. I was the third starter in a 2-man rotation.
Okay.
My junior year.
So you got the call every 3 weeks?
Let me put it this way. I got loose a lot that season. 2 men on, Crackman, get loose. And then
I'm not going to use you, but you be ready just in case.
And then I'd be out there getting loose while the All-Stater got out of trouble. So it was no
funny.
problem.
That's funny.
But yeah, when he used to catch for me, he used to do this thing that I hate him for to this day. He would throw the ball back to me harder than I threw it to him.
Okay.
And I was pitching.
Isn't that a little bit of a?
He would just gun the thing back at me at like 87. I'd be like, I hate you.
Hey, guy.
Why? Also, it's just like,
shouldn't he not be doing that as his off day?
I'm in the middle of pitching right now. Like, I don't need to try and like save my own life every time I catch the ball that it's thrown back to me. We all know you're Benito Santiago back there, but why don't you chill?
What was your high heat? What was your high heat number? How good a heat could you give us?
I was into the low 80s. I think I did hit 82 on the gun my senior year. Not exactly AAA stuff, all right? Not exactly.
How hard did you have to work to get to that 82?
Very hard. Yeah, very hard. Without a doubt, I had fully extended myself. Again, Andy, I got letters from Division III programs that said, "Hey, you have good grades." So,
yeah.
So it was. I think I'll leave this in high school. I'm good. Yeah.
You didn't want to try anything else?
Nah.
There wasn't another position for you?
If I was going to make it would have been as a pitcher. Yes.
Why? Wait, hold on. Why?
I could have gone to like some small town Wisconsin D3 school, and I probably would have had a bigger alcohol problem than I already had when I was in college. So let's just be happy that I made it out alive, okay? Odds were stacked against me, quite frankly. Joey Votto listed, Andy, his some of his favorite inspirational quotes, including "Sometimes you lose" and "Got an iron" from Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay.
He thanked his home nation of Canada, and he thanked the fans of Cincinnati, and he thanked some of the visiting fans. He said, quote, "You energized me with your cheers. I love the booze, the trash talk, the moments where I broke a Road Cities moment or was humbled on stage. I'll never forget early in my career, my first time at Wrigley Field and the crowd standing and cheering toward my failure. I remember standing at the plate smiling and thinking, this is my home. I belong here. I was myself in this sport. I was able to be my best self. I played this sport with every last ounce of my body, heart, and mind." One of the most heartbreaking parts of his announcement, Andy, he said, again, thanking his home nation of Canada, "I wanted to play in front of you. Sigh. I tried with all my heart to play for my people. I'm just not good anymore."
Man, that was a part you told me about at lunch. I wondered if you were going to fit that in. That is just...
That's hard to hear.
Yeah, it is.
From a former MVP.
From a guy that just knows...
I think he had like 4 top 5 finishes in MVPs. I mean, he's one of the great hitters of our time.
Do you think Peyton Manning ever felt that way during that last year?
I'm just not good anymore.
Do you think he wanted to play one more? I think deep down, Manning wanted probably one more year, but I think he knew. Yeah, I mean, we've got the audio. They caught him on the mic when he was mic'd up and tried to tell Belichick, "Hey, this may be my last rodeo, so it's been great competing against you."
I bet those voices were creeping in.
Well, I don't know.
How could they not?
Yeah, see, I say that, but isn't that what makes you great, is that you ignore it all the time? I mean, that's what Tom Brady's always telling us.
That's a part of it, but also they're just like we saw it that year. There were just throws the ball wasn't getting there.
No.
They were just play. And to his credit, he was always cerebral enough to be able to make up for it, and he had that going for himself.
Well,
again, Votto, one of the great hitters' minds of all time, but like hitting 98 is hitting 98. You can either get the head of the bat out or you can't.
I'm telling you, don't ever underestimate, and I think we're seeing it now. I just mentioned it last year where the Broncos needed to just beat the Patriots. They're still in the playoff hunt, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't get it done. You're at home, and they're not good, and you even got a lead. You got a turnover to begin that game and still couldn't turn it into anything. Do not underestimate, do not undervalue, do not underappreciate how even when he wasn't the great Peyton Manning, he still was the clutch Peyton Manning. Because he still made every play they needed him to at the end of whatever grinded out game so that they could get to the Super Bowl that year, period.
So, Andy, you know when a college football coach is at the podium?
Or
really any coach, any athlete.
Sure, yeah.
They sit down at the podium, and the staffers, the SIDs, PR guys, whomever, have all carefully curated and placed a beverage in front of the athlete.
It's like setting up the set.
Could be
getting the scene right.
Could be a Gatorade. Could be whatever beverage. Some were Powerade institutions. quite conspicuously. Label was always pointed at the camera, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always seemed to be.
Look, it was the same as these banners we all have behind us, where they make sure, like right over there, the Circa is placed so you can see it, just like said beverage.
So Lane Kiffin, coach of the Ole Miss Rebels, Lane Kiffin decided he wanted to pay extra attention to his sponsor. However,
did he, though?
Lane Kiffin decided, well, I'll just read the nutrition facts and give my thoughts. This is Lane Kiffin a couple of days ago.
Does anybody drink Coke? You guys had 130% of your sugar for the entire day is in this one bottle. 65 grams of sugar.
When was the last time you had a Coke?
A long time.
Dude. What PR guy? Was it the PR guy? Was it the president? Was it the SID? Whose legs broke trying to get up to that podium to tackle him to get him to shut up?
Just smack him in the face.
Hey, do you know what we're doing here? Do you know why these are here? I mean, I pay you to be aware of what we've got going on. Do you know the running back you got? You know where we got the money to pay his NIL demands?
The economics of the sport, Lane, we've discussed.
Yeah, you should be. Well, again, this is
we're gonna need this
SEC
money.
School. We kind of need to be able to have this money.
And meanwhile, Lane Kiffin is just like, all you fatties got diabetes. Good luck.
He went Wilford Brimley, diabetes.
Lane Kiffin, worried about everybody's blood turning to sludge from drinking Coke.
Just so angry there's a Coke in front of me. You a Pepsi guy? Seriously, dude? That triggered you? What happened? What'd Coke do to you?
Too much sugar, apparently. He couldn't stand it.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to take up for that, all right?
Okay, you going to defend
just
sugar?
Give me a minute. Yeah, I'm going to defend sugar.
You?
Yeah, give me the Dan Campbell rundown on what he's throwing in the coffee. I mean, all these football coaches are coffee junkies.
Yeah.
I mean, get out of here with it. Don't act like you're not putting some sugar in your body at some point. You're not all hyped up and going through all whatever you guys make it through with your 24-hour days, and I slept in the office for 2 minutes in my closet without getting some sugar in your body.
Yeah, I think Lane Kiffin is just mainlining Zins.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Him and Sanford.
But anyway, please.
Staying up all night.
Let's contrast these things.
So Lane Kiffin has an issue with the sugar content of Coke. So yesterday, his SEC rival, Brian Kelly, steps to the podium, and Brian Kelly also has the same sponsorship deal.
I think it's an SEC thing, right?
Seems to be. In this case, it was bottled water, which is a Coke product, and Brian Kelly decided to go anti-Lane Kiffin. Hey, sports radio dweebs everywhere, take note. This is how it's done.
Just a shout out to our sponsor, Coke. Smart water, great Coke product, minerals, vitamins. It's just great for you. It's refreshing, healthy, and Coke provides you all the products that you need depending on what you like.
Gosh.
And I love smart water.
He went brick at the end. I love Lamp. Brick, are you just looking at things and saying that you love them?
His favorite part is the minerals and vitamins.
Yeah, he says Colorado and Washington. I'm positive he says Washington. My dad,
Colorado.
always from Texas, he always liked to say Washington.
Is that a part of the fake Southern accent thing that Brian Kelly did? Is that what they call it down there?
See, I don't know because
Vitamins?
Maybe vitamin. I've never heard vitamins.
My
okay?
vitamins and my minerals.
But Washington,
my riboflavin.
I've heard a few. I used to know a few people. I don't. Do you know any Midwestern people with the like? Why is it Warsh? Is it wash your hands? Why is it Washington?
I remember my elementary school music teacher. It just stuck out in my head because I was like, "What the hell is she talking about right now? I don't need to go to the washroom. What's going on right now?"
I don't know where the R slipped in for some people.
Mrs. Piper, lovely woman.
Meanwhile, we got a Favre, and you're not. The Favre is all messed up.
She was dropping the warshes all over the place.
Got to go wash your hands.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Vitamins.
By the way, did you also see? We had another Good Morning Football segment. I failed to send you.
Yeah.
Is it crayon or crayon for you?
All right.
They did this debate. Did you see the clip, or is this a long-standing debate in your world?
I didn't.
Proper pronunciation.
I have not seen the clip, but this is kind of triggering for me.
Uh-oh. Why, it really is. Your facial expressions have changed, and I've ruined your last 10 minutes.
So I have elementary school age children
You do.
right now,
And you probably had to buy said product.
Without it, the first time, I don't think my wife had ever heard me say the word before.
Uh-oh, okay.
And so when I asked, I was just like, Lucy, pick up your crayons. And she was like, her what? I was like, her crayons. She was like, it's not C-R-A-N. It's not the thing the berry is named after. There's a Y in it. There's multiple syllables.
Oh.
Crayon.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's...
Crayon.
I know.
No, I know, but
I as Nate Kreckman, enunciator of words.
This is so against you.
I know.
This blows it up.
And I was a crayon guy.
You're like that guy that hates boneless wings, but then has to admit he likes Popeye's boneless wings.
I try not to even say the word anymore. Like if Lucy has left them all over the floor,
Pick
I'm
up
just
your
like
colors.
I'm like, pick those up.
Those
Right there. Those. Yeah, those.
You're guying her?
You see the Listen, dude. See the thing next to the markers? Pick those up.
Yeah.
Okay? The thing you color with right there? Yeah, I say that word weird.
Akbar was the one that said it. Akbar Bajabiamila was the only one that said crayon, and everybody else is going with crayon if it helps you.
Crayon?
Kyle Brandt, Peter, not Schaefer, Peter Schrager.
Yeah.
And then, all of them.
Yeah, all of them. All of them. All the so-and-sos.
All of them.
Yeah.
Dude, we've been up very early.
Yeah, I'm a crayon guy.
Crayon?
Here's the thing. Now that I know that I say it that way,
You just won't say it.
I know it's stupid.
But you're not going to stop.
Because that's what it is in my brain. It's a crayon. It's not a crayon.
Yeah, see, I don't. It is crayon.
Crayon?
But I'm with you. I mean, I've heard it both ways.
Do I need a crayon detector on the side of my house?
Never once have I stopped to go, you're not getting that O in. But that was the argument by Akbar. He said, there's a Y-O-N. It doesn't stop at N.
There's a whole other syllable. Anyway, I'm a crayon guy.
Jamie Erdahl just went and erased the two and just said it's crayon. Even Jamie Erdahl, who's kind of like you, driving the show, pronouncing everything correctly.
Yep.
Crayon.
Nope, not exactly.
Crayon.
Crayon.
It's like Westminster.
It's Westminster.
Or Westminster. Or February, not February.
Arvada or Arvada.
Falcon.
What state are we in right now, Nevada or Nevada?
Colorado.
Shout out to our friend Brett McMurphy.
Colorado.
We haven't booked that guy in a while, Spring. Get him back on the show.
The vitamins is an all-timer. I have no idea where you added the R from. And I'm a guy that adds, I don't say a lot of things properly. I don't know where you came up with vitamins. Is it a Peterman product? I mean.
Vitamin. Peterbilt. It's a truck. It's Kreckman and Lindahl. Keep it here. You can watch the Kreckman and Lindahl show on Twitch. Our Twitch feed is presented to you by our friends at Safeway. Order online. Safeway does the rest. Get easy delivery on free pickup with the same great deals. Get started at Safeway.com and order to cart. Safeway, fresh foods, local flavors. Mark Springer back at the shop. Nate Kreckman, Andy Lindahl, live in Las Vegas today. We are joining you from the Circa. We're on floor number 3, by the way, so we're one floor up from the sports book right now. To paint the picture for you here, we are in a rather large hotel ballroom. I've actually been in this ballroom before, Andy. It's a lovely ballroom.
Were you dancing? Were you actually ballroom dancing?
I was not. I was listening to a speech about college football.
So this wasn't the Radio Row area for Mountain West?
Mountain West Media Day, when me and Sanford were out here, was that last month? It was last month. We were set up. Our table was out there in that sort of common area was where we were set.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We were loud.
Oh, so this was press conference area.
This was press conference area, yes. There was a bunch of writers asking very serious questions in here.
They don't need any of the radio nonsense going on.
And then Sanford and I were out there talking about how he was just trying not to have to go puke in a public restroom. It was a good time. Everybody had fun.
As long as a good time's been had by all, that's all we need.
Did you see the latest Joe Burrow concern, Andy?
Now what? What's going on with my guy?
The glove is back. He's got the glove. That's right. Joe Burrow, during practice, final joint practice with Indy was concluded, and he had to talk about the glove. Remember, he had the hand injury, and then he was coming back from that, and then he would wear the glove, and he was wearing a black glove during practice. Now, what Burrow said was that he didn't wear it in reps. He's wearing it between reps in order to maintain the moisture factor on his hand.
Okay.
For whatever reason, Joe Burrow needs a little bit of extra moistness on the hand, and so he puts the glove on and then removes it when he's ready to go out and take the field. Now, Joe said after practice, if you watched footage of me on the sideline in games last year, I was doing this. So apparently between series, Joe Burrow wears a glove so that his hand has the proper tackiness due to the moisture that is created, the friction between himself and whatever the leather material that he gets from what appears to be a Nike batting glove. Essentially, it's what it looks like that he's wearing right now.
So he needs to make his hands sweaty.
Yes.
Is that what the attempt here is?
Yes, he's in order to be able to hang on to the ball a little bit better. I don't know what that means about his grip, but Joe Burrow needs a moist glove.
Smell the Glove. I believe that was an album by Spinal Tap. So
you know, one of the things that, speaking of this, one of the things that I miss, and Springer and I have argued about this for years. I have long been a massive proponent of get pitchers out of the batting order. It's stupid. They suck. Don't let them do it, okay? DH is in both leagues. Thank God baseball finally figured out. If there is a thing that I miss, it's not Bartolo Colon or German Marquez hitting the occasional home run. I like when a pitcher would get on base and then they'd have to run the coat out to him.
You'd have to wear his warm-up coat.
Because he could get chilly.
Yeah, he had to get that nice satin jacket on to run the bases.
Meaning that there was some coach somewhere that was just like, get the coat.
Get that arm warm.
Get him the jacket. Get it out there. Or when they were sitting in sometimes they still do this, obviously, but they'll sit in the dugout and they'll just put it over one arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll hang off the rest of their body. They want you to know that they're tough and they're not cold, but they just got to keep the arm nice and warm.
It's required material for me.
Yeah.
I have to do this.
No, but back in the day, they'd run the base and be like, go up to the gift shop.
But it was funny.
Get him a jacket.
There had to be a more streamlined version of the coat, though, because I do remember, like, the old-school satiny-looking jacket.
Yeah.
That was fairly heavy. Now you're supposed to run the bases in that. Were you trying not to wear them out? When there's some metric that said if they ran the bases, it would cost them an inning or something like that,
Sure.
a half inning of pitching or whatever?
Yeah, the correlation either between long innings messing a guy up, either taking him out of rhythm or having him cool down or whatever it may be, and then, especially if they reached bases, that expensive energy could then cost them out on the mound.
Do you also miss coaches in suits?
In football?
Yeah.
The Mike Nolans?
The Dan Reeves, Mike Nolan, Tom Landry with the top hat. I mean, dressed to the nines.
Pacino?
Yeah.
Any given Sunday?
That's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about the sweater, the business sweater, or even that old school, Andrew Mason always wears it with that old, like, Broncos sweater. Wade Phillips liked the sweater that was half blue, half white, and said Broncos in the middle.
Yeah, Ditka had one of those in Chicago.
Ditka had one of those too,
yeah, getting carried off the field in Super Bowl 20. Sure, I think him and Buddy Ryan were both sporting it.
What about sweaty basketball coach in a suit? I think Tad Boyle still suits up for game days.
He does. He
Yeah.
dresses. He's very classy in that way. To
Michael
me,
Malone with the coat.
I mean, one of the key changes that they have made is letting basketball coaches not have to wear suits out there. It just looks uncomfortable.
What would make more sense? Manager in a suit or manager in a uniform?
Get the baseball managers out of the uniforms.
Yeah,
At least like Bud Black, though, he has like a stylish warm-up that he can wear over his jersey.
Yeah.
So he looks a little bit better now.
What would look better for the pitching change, though? Nice, finely cut Italian suit as you walk out there, like the psycho out of Wall Street. Who is the main character?
Meandering out to the mound at Busch Stadium.
Gordon Giddy or whatever, yeah.
700% humidity.
You're looking like a
and
mob
wool
hitman.
suit.
I'm coming to take you out of this game. You're damn right. You won't lip off to me now.
You would have had Whitey Herzog passing out on his way out to the mound.
The appropriate rose or something right there.
You have to have all the
nice pocket
exactly,
napkin or
man.
whatever.
A nice tie chain, whatever it is that you require.
Yes, the vest. He goes with what, the 3-piece?
Well, I bet if Joe Burrow would wear a wool suit out at practice in Cincinnati, Ohio, I bet he'd have some moisture.
What? I'm going to introduce a new rule. Every last place team in the division, tuxedos for the manager until you get out of there. Cummerbund included.
Bud Black would have quit long ago. Long ago.
Oh, you're going to suck for an extended period of time, are you? We'll motivate you.
This is what you're going to give me? Chris Bryant, huh? I'm
out.
Chris Bryant, huh? I'm out. Take your cummerbund and shove it.
And not only that, it's the Dumb and Dumber. You get the selection of the orange or the powder blue. That's it.
Light purple for the Rockies would be lovely.
Satiny.
Live at Circa Resort and Casino. It is Ultimate Contest Weekend. This weekend, we're broadcasting live today and tomorrow at the Circa here in Las Vegas. Circa Sports $1,600,000 Pro Football Contest. $6 million cash prize. You're picking 5 games against the spread every single week. You got your Circa Sports Survivor Pro Football Contest. $10 million guaranteed. This place is crawling with dudes signing up for this right now. You have to enter here in Nevada. Great excuse to head down to the Circa for a weekend, but you got to do it soon. You got to do it by September 7th. Enter in Nevada. Play from anywhere. We have the 5 biggest stories of the day from around the NFL. Joe Lombardi has Bonix thoughts. That's a bonus next. Time for the best 5 o'clock hour in the biz, the Kreckman and Lindahl Show. We'll be talking to Mike Palm, the VP of Operations here at the Circa. We're joining you live from Las Vegas today, Ultimate Contest weekend. Plus, here's the other thing about the Circa Survivor Contest, Andy. They have a docu-series, okay? If you're in this contest, if you're crushing it, you could become an internet sensation on the Circa Survivor quest for $9.2 million.
Do you want to be that guy?
Hell yeah. Show the world
See,
how
here's
smart
the
you
problem.
are at picking football games?
It's awesome when it's going well. The other thing you got to think about is what happens when you get knocked out.
It's okay.
Hard Knocks is cool until they got to cut guys.
No,
Are we showing that this year, by the way?
God,
Are they showing the cuts?
God, I hope so. Show me sad players all day long. There's no swearing. The McCaskey family doesn't like swearing. Virginia's 175 years old, sweet little old lady. Her ears can't be tainted by such language in Chicago.
So she didn't ever get around Ditka or Butkus is what you're telling me.
Apparently
or
not.
Singletary.
I guess not. Or any football person.
Yeah. Jim McMahon.
For that
I've been
matter.
around Jim McMahon at the old Elway Golf Tournament.
Yeah.
I'm sure he didn't honor that rule.
Let's dive into the 5 biggest stories of the day from around the NFL as we are live at the Circa Resort and Casino. But back in Denver, so far away and yet near and dear to our hearts, is Mark Springer.
Yeah, let's talk NFL, and let's
Let's talk, Mark.
Let's talk about the Denver Broncos. Sean Payton did not speak to the media today. His offensive coordinator did. Noted Sean Payton guy, longtime Sean Payton assistant coach. Joe Lombardi, now the
Big Sean Payton guy.
Yeah, now the offensive coordinator with the Broncos. He was asked about Bo Nix. What does Sean's right-hand man think about Bo Nix? What impresses him about Bo Nix?
Yeah, he learns very quickly. You know, when he doesn't usually make the same mistake twice. When he sees something, it's something new, and he makes a mistake based on it. He gets it, and the next time he sees it, he understands what happened the first time, and he corrects. So he's a really quick learner. You know, I think the coach's kid thing gets overplayed sometimes, but I mean, he's kind of the epitome of that. He loves football, and you know, he studies it and learns from every rep he gets.
Translation, I've coached plenty of coaches' kids who were idiots.
Yeah. Yeah, just because you were around it growing up doesn't mean that it made it into the old skull.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Joe Lombardi is just like, look, just because my last name is Lombardi, don't make assumptions about me, okay?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of pressure going on right there. Bo Nix, the ability to not repeat mistakes or to learn from mistakes that he is going to make. He's going to screw up. Okay? He's going to make mistakes. He's going to make bad reads. He's going to hang on to the ball too long. He's going to fumble. He's going to turn it over. He will throw interceptions. Yes, multiple interceptions. However, and this is, again, the entire key right here is, again, is he adjusting and is he picking up? And preseason, all of that, I get a caveat season, as we always talk about, Andy. I saw, particularly when it came to his footwork and throwing with a solid base underneath him, I thought he significantly improved from week 1 Indy to week 2 Green Bay. That, to me, is one of those examples of, okay, he went back, he got in the film, and I thought he did some things much better in his second game.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I'm not going to go out on a limb and talk about the Broncos winning that first game in Seattle. Tough place to play, great defensive-minded head coach. I'm curious to see, I mean, I know we'll all be worried about the Russ, Peyton, all the, you know, the let's bring the ugly family dinner home in week 2. I'll be curious to see if he can make the kind of jump from week 1 to week 2 the way he did in those 2 preseason games that you're talking about. Can he adjust? Because the Steelers are going to throw some exotic looks.
Right.
You know an exotic look or two are going to get him in the opener. That's what happens to rookies. How does he adjust when he gets that look the next time?
But when he moves the pocket, does he reset his feet or is he throwing off platform? He's going to make some off-platform throws because that's a part of his natural athleticism.
That's part of being a QB these days, right?
Absolutely. But in general, if he gets his legs underneath him, he's going to be able to make better throws. And so get better week in, week out. That's the thing we need to see out of Bo Nix. Spring?
High five.
Let's once again talk about the Steelers quarterback competition. It appears that Russell Wilson will start in Detroit on Saturday morning, but Justin Fields hasn't been as bad as Russell Wilson so far in the preseason. What are his thoughts on this quarterback competition? Justin Fields talked to the media today.
I know that Russ is going to start in this game, Mike just said, but do you anticipate getting any reps with the first team line or George, Najee, any of those guys? Is that something that you want or need?
I mean, of course it's something that I want, but at the end of the day, I don't make those decisions, so that's above my pay grade. So, I think that's a question for Coach T, and, yeah.
Where do you feel like you are in this quarterback competition? Obviously, he hasn't named a starter for week one.
Like I said, I think that's a question for Coach T. I mean, I don't.
What do you think you've shown?
I think I've shown, what I can do. I think, the time that I did have with the ones practicing in training camp, I think that went well. I think we grew a lot each and every day, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's not up to me. So, I'm just going to come in here every day, each and every day, the same person, being a leader for this team and work my butt off, and everything else will be handled.
Those are such awkward questions for a player to have to answer.
Well, and you wonder, you hear all the guys in the background. Was Russ the locker over because Russ talked yesterday? I mean, what are they going to answer? And on top of it, like you said, I want to be the starter. And look, we've all been there. You and I have done it. We've engaged in the process of that right there. But there is nothing that he can say. The reality is, both guys are having to keep answering these questions because neither one of you look like you really wanted the job. Now, granted, Russ has only had 1 week to kind of show that he belongs, but I don't think the reports from practice have been much different than, unfortunately, what you saw in the game if you like Russ.
You know what, though, and to your point right there, like their competition is going to go through preseason game number 3, and a decision is going to be made after that game, and neither of those decisions, if both of those quarterbacks in Russ and Fields play like they have so far, neither of those decisions that are available seem like they're going to do much to fire anybody up right now in Pittsburgh. How convenient, I don't even know if convenient is the right word, fortuitous, is it for the Broncos that Nix was good enough by 2 games that it could get shut down? That could get shut down, that the story could become you are the starter in week 1, you're not even going to play in preseason game number 3, that there actually is a focus and a direction for this offense. Quarterback competitions to me inherently always hinder an offense, because it's just fewer reps for one particular player. In the very least, Sean Payton and his necessity that this thing be, air quotes, earned, in whatever way that it was earned by Bo Nix. Andy, you and I think both agree he was the best quarterback, and so he should win the job, and it's not any sort of injustice that he won this whole thing, and it got done early enough that they could actually put some focus on it.
Yeah, I do think it was planned out this way. Again,
without a doubt.
Look, Sean
But to
Payton,
get it done by now?
No, it's fine.
If Nix had struggled,
yeah, fair
he'd
enough.
have to play on Sunday.
Fair enough. And I will also say this. People keep saying that it's unfortunate this and that has to happen with Stidham. Okay, but I do understand, it does look unfortunate at times. It does look like he gets a bad hand dealt, but then at some point, when it's always a bad hand being dealt when you're in there, aren't you part of the way that hand gets dealt? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. But bottom line is, yes, I'm glad it's over. I'm glad they're moving on. And they're in a much better place than they were a year ago. And that game's going to be fascinating. My big question to you is, if the Steelers don't start Russ, do they cut Russ?
Do you mean in terms of locker room dynamics? And
you don't own the guy anything, and he's not a starter.
$1.3 million.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has never been a backup. Now, I don't get the vibe, especially because he's brand conscious. I don't think Russ would be a problem. Although, I don't know. Look, we all know that, and I give Russ – I wasn't so upset when Russ spoke to the media last year because I feel like those two were just having a kind of a peeing war at that point.
Also, the part where he finally did talk to the media and talk about his contract,
they didn't want that.
That week, reporters had approached him multiple times.
Fair enough, then.
And he hadn't spoken.
So I don't believe he'd be a bad backup. I don't think he would try to, but you don't owe the guy anything.
Right.
Another reason, I will say this, and here's the best reason I think for Bo Nix that this all played out the way that it did. No one's going to be asking for Stidham to come in next if Stidham is still on the roster, which I do think they're going to keep all three.
They're not going to be yelling and screaming for a backup in this
No, not
town.
right now. No.
Even if he struggles, there's not going to be yelling and screaming for a backup. If I am assuming Russ starts the season for Pittsburgh
I'm
and
with
he
you.
plays week 2 against Denver, and when he inevitably plays lousy, there's going to be a lot of yelling and screaming. There could be boos right there in Pittsburgh. There could be boos by week 1. in Pittsburgh for Russell
They were getting
Wilson.
a little frustrated at that preseason game.
Exactly. And so that's where it gets a little bit ugly, whereas you think about for Denver early on in the season, I know 3 of their first 4 games are on the road, but if Bo struggles, it's not going to be all that bad. By the way, I did just double-check. Steelers' first home game is not until week 3. I don't even know if Russ is going to make it.
Yeah, he could get the starting job and be
always
be
a lot of
flipped by
road
that.
fans though for the Steelers.
Yeah, they go everywhere.
And
but
they're
I mean,
playing in Atlanta and in Denver, 2 markets where out of town fans really do show up.
the Steelers and the Cowboys and the Packers.
Yeah.
The Bears. I don't know. There's a bunch of teams that no matter where you go, they've just had longtime fans, and their fans will be there.
And that is 2 of the 5 biggest stories of the day from around the NFL. Oh, nothing but lights out. We'll take a break. When we come back, good morning football. It's, I guess, good afternoon football right now. Good evening football. But good morning football today had a healthy debate about whether or not Bo Nix can win an Offensive Rookie of the Year award. Kyle Brandt, Russell Wilson's best friend, had some thoughts. We're going to play those because he makes an excellent case for why maybe Bo at 11-12-1 for Offensive Rookie of the Year might not be a bad bet. That's coming up next as we join you live from the Circa in Las Vegas. That's Andy. I am Nate. We are live at Circa here in Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Thanks to owner and CEO Derek Stevens having us out here once again for Ultimate Contest Weekend. Andy, right now, Circa Millions on the ticker, which they have up here in the ballroom. We're up to 2,515 entries. Right now, Circa Survivor Pool 5,744. Is what we're talking about.
Got to get here.
You got to get here. $1,000 per entry, 10 entries.
What you got?
max.
A couple more weekends, right?
Yes. You have, I believe, until the 7th of September to get in. But a huge push. This is a great weekend to be here, by the way. Circa Football Preview, hosted by Mike Palm, who we're going to talk to coming up in just a few minutes, is on Saturday afternoon. Willis McGahee, one of the featured speakers. Also,
our guy.
Our pal Frank Schwab.
Yep. He's going to be here.
Yeah, Frank Schwab, Yahoo Sports. Frank is going to be here and speaking. Long time. He was a Colorado Springs Gazette guy, covering the Broncos.
He was a
and
Rocky
Shanny
Mountain News guy
forever. He was Rocky Mountain News. Frank was a guy. Mike Shanahan loved Frank Schwab. Loved Frank's in-depth questions. Never got annoyed with Frank that I ever saw.
No,
not at all. Frank's a damn good football writer, so he's going to be out here. Maybe, I don't know, if he's wandering around, we'll grab Frank. We'll throw him on the show. So Kyle Brandt, Russell Wilson's best friend.
Yeah.
Actually,
never have those two had a disagreement.
Hey, one quick Russ note before we get into this, though. I can confirm, because I check it every time I'm on Concourse C over there at DIA.
Oh, yeah.
The House of LR&C
still there.
Is still there. It was open when I rolled by at 6 a.m. today. The woman who was running the shop, I think just opening things up first thing in the morning, seemed surprised that I walked in, but I wanted to give it a quick look over. The large picture of Russ and Sierra is still up on the wall. Russ, I don't know if this was intentional or not when they took the photo. He's got like a beanie and a pair of sunglasses on, like some aviators that he's rocking. He's very incognito. Really, if you didn't know it was Russell Wilson, you might not know it's Russell Wilson. He looks like he's in disguise.
Yeah, real quick.
He's like a Guess Who character.
You said the lady seemed surprised you walk in.
Yeah.
Is that because you don't look like the person looking for a shaggy rug flannel you described to me?
I don't know if anyone's looking for it.
But you don't scream Andy Warhol fashion.
House of LR&C.
I'm not saying you're not fashionable. You're more fashionable than I am, but you are not Andy Warhol. Let's go to a obscure art show fashionable kind of guy.
There was a
You're not puffy jacket that goes out like a traffic cone kind of guy.
There was a plaid suit coat. I think it was a women's jacket.
Okay.
I can't confirm. Either way, it was blue and gold plaid, but fuzzy. It is how I would describe it. It had like dog hair all over it, basically. Andy, take a guess what a shaggy flannel suit coat situation would run you at the House of LR&C.
All right, let me walk you through this. You've told me the price, unfortunately. I don't know.
Oh, did I already tell you this morning?
Did. But. God,
that was so long ago.
Here's the thing.
Yeah. I did check the price tag, though.
You did check the price tag because I asked you immediately, what was that going for? What you described, I think I'd throw you $25 for, maybe to keep myself warm. Okay, if the deal was right.
Same thing you would pay for a Contavious Caldwell Pope jersey right
exactly.
now. Yeah.
And yet, at the same time, because it was in Russ's shop, I knew that would go up by at least 10 times, which would have made it what, $250?
$398.
Yeah.
Before tax.
Not doing that.
Yep.
I'm not doing it before tax.
Yeah, substantial.
I may only give you what the tax would be.
But you would look like Russ and Sierra. You would have that going for you.
Sure. Do you think Russ is wearing what you described?
Yeah.
You do?
I think Russ tried it on. Yeah. I could see him doing the pre-show walk-up thing in it.
Really? The shaggy flannel.
Do you remember last year he wore the teal tuxedo?
Yeah, no, wasn't that his opener? Wasn't that the Seattle opener where he looked like he was going to his prom?
Was that 2 years ago?
That was.
Oh, wow, it was
yeah. He had the tuxedo we need to make the managers wear.
Ooh.
Anyway, let's get to this audio.
Kyle Brandt, Russell Wilson's best friend, is on Good Morning Football today, and Is Bo Nix now named a starter? So we know for sure Caleb Williams will start. We know for sure Jaden Daniels will start, and we know for sure Bo Nix will start.
Yes.
Right?
Does not sound like – I think Brissett's got the job in New England.
Yeah, Drake May probably going to start the year on the bench. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy is hurt, and Michael Penix won't play until he's 44 years old. Marvin Harrison Jr. third, Bo Nix fourth, and Offensive Rookie of the Year odds. That's behind Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. Malik Neighbors of the Giants right now, anywhere from 10 to 15 to 1. He's an interesting candidate for that simply because of the volume of targets he's going to get. Number one, I think the Giants are going to be losing in a lot of games. And number two, can you name the Giants' number 2 receiver right now?
I cannot, but I also can't name the number 2 quarterback who's going to need to play because Drew Lock's hurt.
That's a great question, too. When eventually Daniel Jones is terrible.
Maybe Drew Lock will be back by then, but
Xavier Worthy is at around 19-20 to 1. But yeah,
so
what?
I would think a little bit about Xavier Worthy.
What chance does Bo Nix have of winning Offensive Rookie of the Year? You got to think about the history of the award. Kyle Brandt made a case for it today on Good Morning Football. Here it is.
So remember, for Offensive Rookie of the Year, it's not like MVP. You don't have to have this crazy winning season and be the 1 seed in the playoffs at all. There's a lot of examples of that. Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray as a rookie, not winning seasons, still Rookie of the Year. And I think the case for Bo Nix has to do with Matt Eberflus and Dan Quinn, who are defensive coaches on the other guys you guys mentioned. I don't know if Matt Eberflus is a quarterback whisperer in any way. We don't know anything about Matt Eberflus. We know a lot about Sean Payton, and if he takes Bo Nix, who he is in love with, not only that he wanted to draft him, but he wanted to start him, and he puts up a bunch of stats. The Broncos don't have to win 13 games. They don't have to win 10 games. They don't have to win 9 games. If they're behind a lot, if Nix runs up a bunch of stats, and if he gets through the entire season. Remember, Herbert won it. Justin Herbert won it in a draft that had Tua and Burrow, and if we were having that conversation back then, I don't think we'd be looking at Justin Herbert as the Rookie of the Year, especially since he didn't even start his first game. So don't just count it out, because we know I love Caleb and we love Jaden. I think Nix is right there in the mix of it. Is he the favorite? I think it's a dead heat right now. It's August.
Dead heat.
Dead heat.
Well, in that case, then bet Bo Nix.
Jamie Erdahl would go on to tag on to that point, because the beginning of the clip we didn't play for you, they had Akbar Bajabiamila, who is one of the new panelists. He took over for one of the McCourty twins. I think it was Jason McCourty that decided he would not move west because the show's now based in L.A. But he basically laid out what you and I have talked about, where I could see Caleb Williams getting it and Jaden Daniels. They both play in massive markets. They both would be bringing legendary franchises out of the ashes, if you will. And frankly, when you look at Caleb Williams, great cast to help him put up gaudy numbers to maybe win the award. But Jamie Erdahl said, look, if Bo Nix, if they can win and they can have this looking like Sean Payton's offense again, and they brought up some of the stats that you had brought up earlier about how I think it was Jamie had said, remember when Justin Herbert won the award, even though they didn't win a lot his rookie year because he had some nice numbers and just had a nice campaign put together. Bo Nix could still do that, and that's another reason. And she would say he doesn't have the supporting cast. So would the argument start to go? Because the strength of the argument from the two players that went against Bo Nix on that panel said Courtland Sutton is not going to be Keenan Allen or Rome Odunze or DJ Moore or whatever. Like Caleb Williams would have. But
yeah.
Jamie Erdahl said, look, if they get those numbers without that supporting cast, isn't that all the more reason that you should vote Bo Nix for Rookie of the Year?
Here's another note, and this, again, would help Bo Nix's candidacy. Same with Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. Do you remember this past draft, we didn't have a running back go until the second round?
Right.
Jonathan Brooks by Carolina. Right now, Brooks, I believe, is the second highest running back on the list, but he's way down at plus 7,500. Blake Corum is at 60 to 1, 65 to 1, again, depending on where you're shopping for your Offensive Rookie of the Year odds. Running backs have won 3 of the last 10 Offensive Rookies of the Year award. But there's no running back that jumps off the page. And Corum, remember, is Kyron Williams' backup with the Rams. So it's another thing that can add to the candidacy of Bo Nix. Mike Palm is the VP of Operations at the Circuit, joins us right now. What up, Mike?
How are you guys doing?
We're great.
You're very excited about your Broncos this year?
Get right into this discussion, okay? We're looking at Offensive Rookie of the Year odds, and we're over the moon, Mike. All right? Bo Nix, as a candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year, we're talking ourselves into it right now. You've observed these races, and you also know narrative and precedent plays a big part into awards markets. Right now, what do you think about Offensive Rookie of the Year?
So I think you're handicapping him against Caleb because I don't think Jaden Daniels can stay healthy all year.
Okay.
I just don't, right? So you can.
They were worried about it at the combine, right?
I would draw a line through Jaden, even though I think if he can, I think Commanders are going to be improved.
Yep.
But I don't know if he can stay. Peyton will play Bo Nix every down. I mean, he's a stubborn guy, right? And he's tied everything into him, and he's going to prove he was the best quarterback, and they knew. So if he's any good, he's going to get a shot. He's really going to get a shot. The question for me is, can Caleb Williams play within structure? Because he never had to at USC.
Right.
He didn't.
Hung on to the ball.
Lincoln Riley did not make him play within structure, and so it was his own. Can the Bears make him play within structure? Because if they can, look, he's got a lot of talent around him. The receiving core is maybe the best the Bears have ever had. They've got a top 5 run defense. So he's set up. But can he step right into that situation? Because I don't think he had to have a lot of maturity at USC. I just don't.
Yeah.
I think everything was handed to him. He's in the $20,000 apartment painting his nails and all that, right? Don't talk to the media when you lose. I watched the note. I couldn't believe the Notre Dame game. I mean, I'm a Notre Dame grad. I couldn't believe he throws 5 and they lose that game. I never thought Notre Dame could beat him. I think it's worth a shot with Nix.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be given every opportunity. And the Michael Lombardi always talks about it's not the quarterback, it's the coach-quarterback combo. And does that combo work?
It's the best combo on the board.
If he's got the talent, the combo will work, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's worth a shot.
What is happening right now at Circa with the Broncos at 5.5? Are you seeing any increased action on the over with Nix having looked good in the preseason and getting named the starter?
Yeah, the juice has changed about 10 or 15 cents. We're not there to get to 6 yet.
Yeah.
And, how does the market react to the Raiders? Because that's part of it. Naming Minshew, I think that's good for the Raiders to name Minshew in the short term.
Yeah.
But they really don't have a quarterback. So
explain to me the thought behind Raiders at 6.5, Broncos at 5.5. Is it simply just a factor of better high-end talent on the Raider roster?
I think it's a factor of the Raiders' defense was much improved last year. The Raiders almost made the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they go to Indianapolis like the second to last week and win that game, they're really live for the wild card. But, Pearson punts 5 times in plus territory on 4th and 2 or shorter. They're so risk averse. And that's part O'Connell, too. He won't stretch the field.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it. You go back to Denver and the dysfunction, right? It just was a disaster with Russell Wilson.
Oh, it's all is good now. Sean Payton's happy, Mike.
They gave up 70 points to Tua, and, he was only a year out of that horrible human being, Brian Flores. So I think for the division, you might as well just give the Chiefs the 1 seed and then start the AFC playoffs. That Chargers roster is really bad.
Yeah.
Harbaugh's a miracle worker, but what can he do with this ride?
Give him no receivers.
Give him 3 years. You got to give him some time here.
Yeah.
And he's got a long leash, right? He doesn't have to prove himself anymore. Maybe he did with the 49ers back then, but he doesn't have to prove himself. I look at the Broncos, and can they win 7 games? I look at it, can they win 7 games? Because you don't say 6 when they're teetering on 5.5, 6.
Yeah.
Can you win? Well, honestly, I think they can win 2 games in the division, right? Maybe 3, depending on the Raiders. Mm-hmm. I think you can split with the Chargers. I don't think you're going to beat the Chiefs. So that's 3. How do you get 4 more games outside? But the thing is, they're playing a weaker schedule.
Yep.
Right? So
got Carolina.
There's winnable games. I'm not sure Atlanta's not a winnable game. I'm not sold on the Falcons. I've never been a Cousins guy.
They're signing their roster like they think they are, though, right?
It's amazing.
Throwing money around.
I think they're better off if he gets hurt and just go to Penix. Honestly, I think that's better off long term for the organization. So it's not awful, I think, to put a bet on over and take it. The better bet is Nix, though, for Rookie of the Year, obviously.
Yeah.
Is
Good price.
Yeah, the price is right.
I was going to ask.
It's a 2-man race to me.
Yep.
We've got this huge sheet of futures and everything offered here. We've got a lot of Bronco fans that just want a little action on their team. Is it the over? Is it Nix? What's your favorite bet that you would place in your your vast menu of bets Bronco fans could throw down.
I would take the next offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
You're going to get a whole season sweat out of it, unless he gets hurt.
What about Sean Payton for coach of the year? Could that get any run if Nix looks like the guy? If it looks like he's right?
I think coaches that have had success get penalized in that race, right? You're looking for some guy that's proved himself.
Pops out of nowhere.
Right? And pops out of nowhere. By the way, Nico Ryans got absolutely screwed last year in that he should have absolutely won. I know it was a tie, and it went to Stefanski, and the narrative was, well, they played 5 quarterbacks. Well, one of them is in a week where they weren't trying to win, Jeff Driscoll. Who thought Watson was going to be any good anyhow? No, seriously.
No, I
He's
know.
not going to be any good.
Yeah.
Stefanski doesn't want to play him, but he doesn't make the shot. I mean, I've heard from people he looks absolutely horrendous so far in these joint practices, Watson.
Stefanski probably wanted to keep Flacco.
Why wouldn't you? What Flacco do wrong? He didn't give up 50 points in Houston in the playoff game, right? I mean, he came in and won games. The worst game he played was probably the Bears game, and they ended up winning that game. So I think it's more of these guys that, you don't have high expectations because they haven't won in other places. So I would lean against that. Plus the coach of the year market, the odds aren't good on anybody. They're all flattened out to like 15 to 20 to 1. And so everybody's like the same. I almost never dabble in that market.
Mike Palm is the VP of Operations here at Circa. It is Ultimate Contest weekend, and you guys have so much going on. People signing up for the $1.6 million. People signing up for the Survivor. The Survivor pool. We were debating before what Bronco game are you taking. Andy's on the Carolina game. I'm taking Pittsburgh week 2. That's the way that I'm looking at it right now.
He's
with
taking
Denver.
that over Carolina at home. They've got Carolina at home by week 8.
I don't know if Bo's going to be healthy.
Just remember, things change, right?
You have
injuries
your own and all that.
Yeah, but you and how teams are.
Yep.
Everybody came into last year saying Arizona won't win a game, right? And everybody played Washington week 1. They barely squeaked by.
What was Houston's total last year?
4.5.
4.5.
Yes.
Wow.
Insanity.
4.5. They win the division.
Things do happen. There's no doubt about it. For people that
but
want to
also, if Jonathan Taylor doesn't dive out of bounds twice, Indianapolis wins it. What the hell is he doing? Put your shoulder down and go forward. What are you doing, Jonathan?
Survivor contest. 10 million guaranteed. Yeah. We're over 5,800 entries.
Think about if we get
now.
to 11 million, we just hit the halfway point.
Yeah.
So 3.5 months, and then the last 14 days
and we get to that spot right there. For people that want to get in on this contest, we've been telling them all day, get down here, get to the Circa, obviously, but you can do it at multiple locations in Nevada. Go to circasports.com and get all the information. You've done this a long time. Mike, you're very good at it. What advice do you have for people that are getting in this pool?
Well, figure out who your proxy is going to be. So
that's a good step.
You can go.
But Circa takes care of it, right? You guys can.
Well, we'll tell you who they are, but I mean, you can do a little research. I always say it's like a woman and their hairdresser. It's a very personal relationship.
Oh.
You're relying on this person to put your picks in correctly to win $10 million, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very personal relationship. The proxies are, we don't endorse one over another.
Okay.
But they're very, very good, and their technology gets better every year. But go online, do a little research, talk to people. If you need some help identifying, you can reach out to anybody at Circa, myself, Jeff Benson. Make an appointment because we're getting into crunch time now where they're not, they're working by appointment now. It's not walk-in business the last few weeks. Make an appointment. I would encourage people, if they had the funds to get in both contests, they're very different. They're very, very different. Survivor seems so simple, and yet it isn't, but it's so fun. If you can make a deep run.
Right.
And all the ways you monetize your ticket, all your strategies, all the math, all the game theory. And then Millions, there's 126 ways to win. Look, there's one way to win the Survivor. You get to the end. Millions, can you get hot for 4 weeks? Mm-hmm. I tell people because they go, well, the first place 70%. I can't pick 70%. But can you pick 80% for 4 weeks? Can you get hot at some point during the year? Most people go hot and cold. And if you can do it within the bounds of a quarter, we give away $300,000 every quarter.
Yeah, it's monthly prizes, right?
Best 5 winners and the worst record. So I would encourage you to do both. It's a very different experience. But and then next year you say, well, I liked one more than the other or not.
Mike, I've got to tell you, since you've got Willis McGahee coming in here, I covered him in Denver when he was a Bronco. You talked about the nuttiness of Taylor running out of bounds and all the weird stuff. I want you to ask him in some moment, and maybe even have him tell the assembled masses, 10 years, 12 years later, how in the hell did you pull off what they did with Tim Tebow that year? Because he was part of one of those you were talking about. I don't know what it was like for you guys here in Vegas, but my gosh.
The diamond.
We
They're running a diamond. They got a diamond
backfield. How
backfield.
they were winning.
The sheer force of Christianity, I guess, is what it's a Tim Tebow. It was fun, though, wasn't it?
Oh, we had a lot of fun.
He would go games. He wouldn't. It was like the opposite of Aiden O'Connell at Kansas City, who didn't complete a pass after the first quarter. He would go games he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn for 3 quarters, and somehow in the fourth quarter they would rally that team. It was really amazing that
Mike,
year.
he had a game in Kansas City where he had 2 passes, both to Eric Decker, and
2
I
of
think
8.
they were both touchdowns, weren't they?
2 of 8. They won.
I'm not
amazing.
kidding.
And then the playoff game. And
I'm telling you, I was on the sideline asking other players, "How are you doing this?" And they just, I don't know. But it's nice to win, right?
Yeah,
it's great to win. How
punt
about
a lot for 3.5 quarters?
How about the Buffaloes? Any interest in the Buffaloes?
All right, so we have a question on the text line. Would you parlay the Broncos and the Buffs to hit their overs? Since
No, I would go under.
There's
I don't think Colorado. I think they're 4 or 5 win team. I don't think he coaches there after this year. I think he moves on.
Did you go to CSU, Mike? What's going on right now?
No, I'm just saying. I mean, they had the short-term results early, but you got to get more depth to your team.
Yeah.
You can't sustain a team without any depth. I don't know where his son's going to go in the draft. I know there's some really
Buzz
high
about right here, right?
Really high ceiling.
There's a lot of variance there.
Right? Huge variance.
He has to show this year that he can get the sack rate down. It's going to scare off NFL teams.
Yeah, I want Prime to do well, right? I
Sure.
think it's much more interesting when they're doing well, but at the same time, I just can't see. If you go through the schedule, I mean, it's really hard to see it. The Big 12, if I could only watch one conference this year, it'd be the Big 12, and yet they're probably only going to get one bid because they're going to beat the hell out of each other. That league's 10 deep.
Yep.
So we do the betting who will make a championship game. So Utah's the steam team. Utah to make the playoffs, Utah to win the Big 12, Utah to be in the championship game. But then you ask 20 people who's going to play Utah in the championship game, you might get 8 different answers. It is a deep league, and the second place team might have 4 losses. I'm high on Iowa State. I think they take a big step forward, and I thought Rocco Becht was a joke. Mm-hmm. But that team goes from being one of the least experienced to most experienced. I think the quarterback steps forward. You can make a case Oklahoma State's odds here at Circa have dropped in half.
Really?
They were 12-1 to win the Big 12. They're now like plus 570. So there's been a lot of steam on Oklahoma State.
It's the QR code.
I keep waiting. Yeah, I keep waiting for Kleeman to win something at Kansas State. Right? They to take a step. Central Florida's I mean, there's so many options. But the problem is you're going to be a one-bid league. ACC will be a one-bid league. Big 10, I can't find a 4th team beyond Penn State. Does that mean the SEC gets 5? And if Notre Dame doesn't make it 6?
Oh.
Steam team also Mississippi to make it. When you're looking at that SEC, I mean, Lane can win all the games he's supposed to and lose to the big schools, still make the playoffs. Right?
Who's your non-Power 5 to get in the playoff or Power 4?
I firmly believe that Liberty goes undefeated and doesn't make it. Can the voters say they want to see what happens?
Put him in again.
They don't play anybody.
Yeah.
They can't circle any
wouldn't put him in
game.
again.
So I think it comes down to 2 teams. I think Boise is really live.
Yep.
They are loaded, and they bring in receivers in the portal. They are loaded. They can go to Oregon and lose by 2 touchdowns, still be very live, and run the. But they have a tricky game at UNLV on a Friday. But I think Memphis is a sneaky choice as well. So I would bet both of them, and I think you'll be okay.
Boise's back as a Heisman candidate. That kid's a stud. He is
We
good.
put him in as an individual odds.
Yeah.
You can't win as a running back though in a
Anymore?
non-Power 5. I don't think you can win a Heisman as a running back in a non-Power.
Yeah, what
5.
would you have?
You might
to
not
do?
even be able to win it as a running back. Forget the non-Power, right? Non-Power 4.
It's all
Think about
quarterbacks
that.
like the NFL,
It's just
right?
all quarterbacks.
1,000 season. Could you do it? Could you do it if you had 1,000 season?
I think Boise would have to win at Oregon, be undefeated,
Mm-hmm.
be a top 10 team for him to. I just don't think he can do it. Right?
Mike Baum, everybody. There you go. VP of Operations
guys.
here at Circa. You probably have another interview to go to,
I
Mike.
think I'm going to go do
You
the
have fired up Buff fans, by the way, Mike.
I'm going to go do the Raiders guys and tell them how good Gardner Minshew is.
Listen, I
He's
want
a
you to
hell
know
of a
this.
guy to have a beer with. I got to tell you, he's a nice guy.
If you want to come to Colorado, go
Yeah.
to Fort Collins and
Okay.
stay out of Boulder right now.
They're mad at me in Boulder.
Boulder's mad.
Oh, stop it
Fort
already.
Collins
oh,
loves
stop
you.
it. 5th down. All right, let's play the fifth.
Oh, wow.
Let's
You're
play
not
J.D.
paying
Louderback.
attention.
Mike Pritchard's over
You're
there.
just throwing
J.D.
another log on
Louderback
the
in the
fire.
fifth. I said, Mike Pritchard sends J.D. Louderback and his crew a Christmas card every year. And he goes, he tells this story, that Coach Mack said, even though when they went in and they saw that they had 5 downs, we're not going to forfeit this game because the field was so bad in Columbia. That was a turf field then. We should have never played this game. I said, so the Christian found a great reason not to forfeit the game. I'm firing him up there. I'm firing him up.
You are.
Mike Palm, everybody, VP of Operations here at Circa. Come throw stuff at him here and sign up for the Survivor contest.
Take his money. Take his money.
As long as you sign up for the contest, Mike won't hold it against you, all right? Mike, good stuff, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We'll do it again soon.
All right, it's Craigman and Lindahl on Altitude Sports Radio. The Shop Mazda text line, as always, is open to you. One price, one person, 1 hour. 303-504-0925. If you ever want to send us text messages. What's it look like right now, Andy?
We've got.
How are things?
Let's see. Bleep this guy.
Bleep
he can
this
never come
guy.
on these airwaves again.
Okay.
And followed by a 303 says Mike can never come on these airwaves again. Followed by a 970 that says bring this guy on every week.
That was Mike Palm, the VP of Operations here at Circa. He had thoughts, and they were expressed loudly.
They were enjoyed by some,
hated
by others.
Hey, that's what you call a good guest right there. That's called a guy showing up and doing the job.
Yeah, we're here to give you something to remember anyway.
Yeah, Mike Palm, good radio guest. No milquetoast answers there.
You want to get even? Come take his money.
Yep. It's
come win the millions.
Enter the Survivor contest right here at Circa Sports or the Circa Million. Again, two very different skill sets. Excellent payouts in both of those. This is Ultimate Contest Weekend. Enter in Nevada, but play from anywhere. Today has been a gigantic pile of fun out here at the Circa. Andy, we'll do one more show here tomorrow before shipping back to Denver. I think the lesson of this show today is get off your ass and bet Bo Nix to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
You know, and here's why I think you ought to give it a go. Betting the favorite wins you nothing, right? I mean, again, I think we all still think it's probably going to be a Caleb Williams award. I do think Mike was – remember, there are a lot of scouts that said, boy, Jaden Daniels has got to learn to slide.
Right.
He's got to learn not to take so many hits. So, unfortunately, an injury, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
He could
for
go
a lot
Anthony
of
Richardson
folks.
this year.
He could go. Hopefully he doesn't because
Yeah.
he looks like he's going to be a fun player and I think more polished than Richardson. That being said, the other guy I'd look at, what would you do with an Xavier Worthy? It looks like he is the new Tyreek Hill in town for Patrick Mahomes. They keep saying nobody can cover him. Now, again, it is training camp. And the preseason lies a lot. You know how you're always making fun of me for drafting some guy I fell in love with during preseason stupid NFL Network action. So it lies. It really lies.
Could be Bo Nix for that matter. We don't know.
Bo Nix. Hey, if you want to throw down on a Bronco, he said Bo Nix is your best bet.
The point.
Real quick? Are you surprised that he didn't? He said we're not getting too much juice towards the 6 yet. Sean Payton has made this thing look like he's got it humming. You surprised they haven't moved that over/under number yet?
No, I mean simply because the lack. They're only going to move it if the money hits a certain point. Like he said, like the price has changed, but not necessarily enough to push it up
15
another
cents, he
half
said, or
of a
something?
victory right now. So they haven't been able to get to that point quite yet. But I think a lot of what you're looking at right now here with Denver is there's still massive questions at the skill positions.
Yep.
After Cortland Sutton. Again, we're looking at Josh Reynolds as the most dependable receiver on this team, a guy that was buried around, 3 or 4 on the Detroit Lions. So that's a guy that we're talking about being the number 2 wide receiver on this team. There's still – it's an offensive line that is good, that is well compensated. Is it a great offensive line? I think they got to be able to answer those questions. Where's the pass rush going to come from? Youth in the secondary outside of Patrick Surtain, and, oh, by the way, a rookie quarterback. Really, the reality of rookie quarterback is typically that is roughly the 26th rated quarterback in the NFL. Is that enough to make everybody think, oh, this can be a 7-win team? Because that's exactly what Mike is talking about. If you're going to take the over on a team, do it because you think they can win 2 more games.
Here's what I think is funny about the number, though. 5.5 is where it sits.
Yeah.
So Sean Payton, we keep saying it, never has won less than 7 games in his career. I think that stat would get some more people betting that, at least because again, all you need is 6. You don't even need, and you don't need him to hit his average.
I guess the pushback on that is never started a rookie quarterback for 17 games.
Okay.
That would be the simple pushback on that Sean has never had something like this, that Sean is dealing with a, $55 million in dead cap dedicated to Russell Wilson right now. That I would think would be where the sharp bettors are probably pumping the brakes a little bit more in Denver. Now, as for Bronco fans, bet it. It's more fun to bet the over.
Yeah, like we said.
Take the over.
Get your coffee money out.
Exactly.
Skip a day. Throw it down on the over. Why not?
It's more fun that way.
I do think, though, again.
In all seriousness, Andy, I've bet the under on the Broncos like 7 years running. I don't think I'm going to this year.
I will not talk myself into 10 wins this year is kind of our running joke, although I'll try very hard by the time we make our predictions next week, or whatever, 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
But I don't know why you wouldn't go on the over. It's 7. Why would anybody bet against him at 7?
You don't need to.
This team looks more cohesive than last year's team. What did they win last year? 8?
Yep. They won 8 games last year. Turnover luck was nice for a while. But, yeah.
Circa Sports app, by the way, too, right?
Yeah, get the Circa Sports app.
People are asking what app you can get some of these. As for the game we're talking about, John in particular in the text line, got to come to Nevada to get that work.
That's right. Play from anywhere, but enter in Nevada for the Circa Million and the Circa Survivor contest. We'll be back out here tomorrow from 3 to 6, so make sure you tune in. Thanks to the room full of sports radio knobs. Shout out to our buddy Mike Pritchard, we got to get Pritch on the show tomorrow.
Yeah, what was the deal?
Just wander.
Was that calculated that he came up with 2 minutes left?
Yeah, rolled by at 5:54.
And then made sure he walked out before he could take the headsets off?
See, now Nate and Andy can't ask.
Can't talk to me.
They don't have to be on the show. That's savvy right there.
Did you not hear Mike yelling his name?
I know, right?
Mike. They have the same name.
We are back tomorrow at 3 o'clock. We look forward to talking to you then. The Blitz is coming up next. Enjoy.